Good morning, Internet. Wake up, it's almost booze o'clock, and you don't want to be late for booze o'clock. I'm your host, Dave, and welcome back to the Noisy Barstool. We're going to be doing a how-to video. It's been a while, I know, but truth be told, we're still dealing with this whole global pandemic thing, so I figured now would be a good time to teach you how to make some cocktails from the comfort of your own home. We're going to be making the Sazerac cocktail today, but before we do that, I gotta say, if you like this type of content, I implore you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, maybe hit the little bell thing for notifications, and at the end of the video, if you'd like to tip your bartender, I did start a Patreon page for the Noisy Barstool because I, like a lot of my service industry brethren, are out of the job right now, and that's a scary proposition. So, if you'd like to throw a couple bucks my way, I would be much obliged, and I'll put all the relevant links in the description below. But enough about that. Let's get into it. Today we're going to be making a Sazerac cocktail. Now, a Sazerac is the official cocktail of New Orleans, and that's where I learned to make it. Originally, the Sazerac was made with cognac, Peychaud bitters, and absinthe, along with some sugar. But at various times, cognac and absinthe especially were hard to get in the United States, or illegal, as some of the ingredients were. So when those things became hard to get, they were replaced by rye whiskey and herb saint. Some cocktail manuals actually tell you to prepare it in one old-fashioned glass and transfer it to a second old-fashioned glass, but I like using the mixing glass, so that's what we're going to do. First, you're going to take the old-fashioned glass and you're going to roll it with herb saint. You might see some bars have an atomizer, one of those little spritzers, and they just coat it. If you don't have one of those, you want to pour, somewhere between an 1/8 of an ounce and a 1/16 of an ounce. This is actually a fairly heavy pour. And roll the glass with it, coating the entire glass all the way up to the lip. And then, once you've got it pretty good and coated, you'll dump the rest. That's why people use an atomizer, so you don't end up wasting a bunch of it. But while that's sitting there, you're also going to put an ice cube in it, just to chill it down. And because it's kind of an odd shape, I'm just going to stir it a couple times just to chill the glass down. Alright. Take your mixing glass, and what we're going to do is put typically a sugar cube, maybe 2 sugar cubes worth, so I'd say a bar spoon to a bar spoon and a half. Just a decent little helping there. Then you're going to take your Peychaud bitters, and you're going to put it into the sugar so it can saturate a little bit. Here's the thing. When I first learned how to make this cocktail, I asked the bartender who was teaching me, how much Peychaud do you put in? And he said, and I quote, enough to change the color. It's essentially 2.5 dashes, maybe 3 dashes if they're big dashes. You're doing enough to saturate the sugar, maybe just under what it would take to fully saturate the sugar. And then take a muddler and just muddle it and grind it up a bit so it infuses with the whiskey a little easier in just a second. Now, you take about 2 ounces of rye whiskey. But since we're doing a New Orleans drink, and also it might be the end of the world, let's put a little more whiskey in there, huh? Sounds good. Take a cube, and try not to splash your guests. And take your spoon, and give it a stir. All you're doing here is thinning that out. The cocktail itself is 2 ounces of rye whiskey with essentially some absinthe and a singular sugar cube in it. So, when you do that and you add bitters to it, you get some flavor, but you're thinning it out because it's relatively hot. With the rye whiskey, it'll still be fairly stingy. It's a spirit-forward drink. As you can tell, I've only put various spirits into it. Now that we have a chilled glass for it to pour into, we drop the ice, and then take our strainer and pour it in. As you can see, the cocktail itself sits kind of low in the glass. I have worked for bars that put it in coupe glasses, the little rounded martini glasses, so to speak, because they thought that the look of it was better. But if you order a Sazerac in New Orleans, it will come in a down glass, just like this. Finally, you're taking a lemon and getting a nice healthy peel out of it. You're going to express that lemon over the drink, getting all the citrus oils to rest on top of the cocktail. Then, take your peel and you're going to put it around the lip of the drink so that people get it when they touch the drink to their mouth. And then there's some contention about what to do with this. In some of the fancier cocktail lounges, sometimes it'll be clipped to the side with a little paper or a little clothespin. I've seen people drop it into the drink, and I've also seen people tell you to never drop it into the drink. I usually leave it on the lip like this so that my customer can choose their own adventure. But since I'm the one drinking it, I'm just gonna make sure I get all of the citrus oil out of there and drop it in my dump bucket. And quite frankly, you're all set. That is a Sazerac cocktail. Cheers.